wrestling fans? My name is Brian Crazy. You're watching my brand, the F brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com and the World Wide Web. I am back on Fight Nation Wrestling to provide you guys with the wrestling news, reviews, rumors, insight that you're growing accustomed to. And I am back with my Monday Night Raw review for Monday, April 8, 2013. Monday Night Raw was live from the Izod Center in East Rutherford, New Jersey. They announced at the start of the show that Triple H The Game will be on SmackDown this coming week. And also, before Monday Night Raw went live on the air, most of the major wrestling news websites were covering the story. The Rock was injured at WrestleMania 29. He ended up ripping muscle right off the bone in his pelvic region. He suffered a hernia alongside that, and he was originally scheduled for Raw tonight. He ended up leaving Miami. He ended up leaving back home for Miami. He ended up leaving New Jersey right after WrestleMania. And originally, he was scheduled to appear on Monday Night Raw tonight. He was supposed to come out, start off Monday Night Raw, cut a promo, and then he was supposed to be interrupted by Brock Lesnar. This was supposed to set up a future feud between these two superstars. But with The Rock not being able to attend Monday Night Raw tonight due to that injury, there was massive rewrites before the show went on the air. So my question to you guys, my fans and subscribers, is how much of this show was originally supposed to happen? And how much was decided to take place to fill that void? Now, setting up that feud, having The Rock appear is huge. Having Brock Lesnar appear is huge. But a lot of the other things that happened throughout the course of the night would have offset those already, or were these added to offset the lack of that segment? I'm going to go right into Monday Night Raw. I'm going to give you my thoughts, my opinions, and you guys can leave your thoughts, your opinions, because that's what it's all about. This is supposed to be an interactive process, because without you guys, my fans and subscribers, and I cannot tell you enough how much I appreciate you guys, without you guys, none of this would be possible. So we see John Cena come out. He cuts a promo, and then he proceeds to issue an open challenge. Mark Henry ends up coming out, and I think this was the last person John Cena expected to see come out. He says, you want a challenge? You better be careful what you wish for. Mark Henry ends up accepting, and then Booker T ends up interrupting. He says, hey, you guys aren't just going to make a title match out here. You know what? You guys can fight tonight. If Mark Henry can defeat John Cena, then he will get a future opportunity at the WWE Championship. But right now, as it stands, The Rock is still the #1 contender. He will get his rematch for the WWE Championship he lost last night at WrestleMania 29. Then we go into the first match of the night, Daniel Bryan versus Big E Langston. With the assistance of Dolph Ziggler, Big E Langston picks up the win over Daniel Bryan in his first official match on Monday Night Raw. His first official match on the WWE main roster was last night at WrestleMania 29. Then Wade Barrett squares off against The Miz. This is the return match from last night at WrestleMania 29. And Wade Barrett is successful. He recaptures the Intercontinental Championship. He ends up defeating The Miz after hitting a huge bullhammer elbow. Wade Barrett is now a 3-time Intercontinental Champion. And this is exactly what I asked for. My #1 complaint about their match at WrestleMania 29 was that it was too short. Two great workers. They had great in-ring chemistry. Great match. They were telling a great story. False finishes. A lot of action. It was just too short. It was about 5 minutes. I would have really liked to see a little more length, and they gave us that return match. It was a little bit longer. A lot of action. It was even better than the match at WrestleMania 29, and Wade Barrett is the new Intercontinental Champion. Then there's two segments that happen backstage. Sheamus ends up interacting with Vicky Guerrero. Randy Orton ends up interacting with the SmackDown General Manager Booker T, who has sure been flexing his muscle a lot on Monday Night Raw in recent weeks. Sheamus ends up asking Vicky for a match with the Big Show due to the fallout of what happened last night at WrestleMania 29, and it is granted. A little bit later, Randy Orton goes to Booker T. He ends up buttering him up. Oh, you're a Hall of Famer. You're the only actual GM around here. Change that match. Let me have the Big Show. And it ends up, a little bit later on, we'll get to that, ends up going to a Twitter poll, then they end up squaring off, and Big Show ends up coming out. But we'll get to that point in just a little bit. Then we see Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger square off against Alberto Del Rio in a 2-on-1 handicap match, but they're tagging in and out like a tag team match. I remember the days when a 2-on-1 handicap match, two guys were in the ring and one guy was getting beat down for whatever reason it was. Usually Vince McMahon was punishing somebody, but that's just kind of the way it was. This was tagging in and out. Zeb Coulter wasn't really active throughout this match, but Jack Swagger and Alberto Del Rio, just like their match at WrestleMania 29, a lot of back-and-forth action, a lot of physicality, false finishes, a lot of trading of submission maneuvers. Alberto Del Rio was successful. He picked up the win over Jack Swagger, but the damage was done. after being locked in the Patriot lock so many times that ankle was damaged. And Dolph Ziggler ends up capitalizing. He comes out, cashes in Money in the Bank, and for a minute, it looks like Alberto Del Rio is going to successfully fend him off. It looks like he's going to successfully defend his title, but he is too injured, and it gets the better of him. Dolph Ziggler ends up hitting the zigzag for the second time, and 1, 2, 3. We have a new World's Heavyweight Champion in Dolph Ziggler. Then we see The Undertaker come out. He starts to cut a promo talking about WrestleMania 29, talking about CM Punk, talking about Paul Bearer, and then the Shield's music hits. The Shield ends up surrounding Undertaker in the ring, and Undertaker ain't trying to run. I don't know what his odds are going to be against these 3 up-and-coming superstars, but hell, he'll go down, he'll die before he runs. That's the way The Undertaker is made, and that ain't never going to change. He ends up getting some assistance from his brother Kane and Daniel Bryan. They come down to make the save, and the Shield wants no part of this trio. They end up resorting back into the crowd. Then Santino, Zack Ryder, and R-Truth squared off against 3-man band. Santino, Ryder, and Truth were successful, picked up the win over 3-man band. This was a quick little filler match. Wasn't too bad. Nice to have Zack Ryder in front of his hometown New York crowd. Then the segment I was talking about earlier, Sheamus and Orton both want a piece of the big show. Vicky Guerrero and Booker T come out, and they make the decision that the fans on Twitter will decide who will face off against the Big Show. Randy Orton wins the Twitter poll, but they decide to kind of just throw that right out the window, and Orton and Sheamus will end up squaring off to see who will face the Big Show. Then the Big Show comes out, he ends up knocking out Randy Orton, and then he ends up dominating, decimating, absolutely destroying Sheamus. Then Fandango is supposed to square off against Kofi Kingston. Their match starts, but is quickly interrupted by Chris Jericho. Jericho comes out and gets a little redemption for WrestleMania and ends up laying Fandango out. Then we get the 8-man tag match from WrestleMania 29, the match that we were supposed to see at WrestleMania 29 that unfortunately the card ended up running over. There were serious time constraints, and they weren't able to feature this match. This was the Funkadactyls and Tons of Funk squaring off against the Rhodes Scholars and the Bella Twins. And as they were going into this match, it was bad enough it was cut from WrestleMania 29. Part of their entrance is cut. Part of the match is cut. But the part of the match we did get to see was good. I would have really liked to see better. You know, it's a shame they got cut from WrestleMania. I would have really liked to see them be able to have a full match uninterrupted by commercial breaks on Monday Night Raw, seeming that they weren't able to compete at WrestleMania. But what I saw, I did enjoy. I like all the competitors involved in this match. I think Naomi and Cameron really have a bright future. I'm glad that the Bellas are back. At first, I really didn't think the team of Tensai and Brodus Clay was going to work, but I absolutely think it was brilliant. I really didn't have that much foresight to imagine picturing those two guys together. But you got to think back as Tensai's previous incarnations as Prince Albert and A-Train. And it works. I can see how it works. And I've always been a huge fan of the big man. Matt Bloom, I think he's a great superstar. When he first came in, I thought he had so much promise. I really felt like they should have fed off the Japanese disciple thing. He should have been somehow tied in with Laurinaitis. Laurinaitis made his name over in Japan, wrestling for a Japanese promotion. Tensai was a disciple of the Japanese culture. I really felt like that should have been a little more of a tie-in, but Laurinaitis' time was limited. He only made it another month or two before he was ejected as general manager. But Tons of Funk and the Funkadactyls end up picking up the win in this match. Then we go into the main event, Cena versus Mark Henry. Now, Cena ends up going into the outside with Mark Henry. Mark Henry ends up getting counted out. John Cena ends up back in the ring. And then we see Ryback come out. This is after Mark Henry ends up attacking and assaulting John Cena. And Ryback ends up laying out Mark Henry. Then he goes to pull up John Cena in one of the best segments in wrestling in years. I just love how this played out. He pulls him up, and then he grabs him. He holds him tight to his chest, and just the look, and then he just starts nodding the head. And then Cena being cocky, the way he's been, he goes up. He goes up onto the corner. He goes to do his pose, and Ryback starts doing the feed me more. And it's almost a look in Cena's face. I don't know if he's mad that Ryback's trying to take his spotlight, or is afraid that Ryback's about to attack him, or what it's supposed to exactly be. But Cena kind of steps this way, and Ryback just hits him with that huge meat hook clothesline. Ends up, boom, throwing him up in the air, marching around the ring, goose-stepping with him, hitting the shell shock. Then he goes, blah, and then he raises the title up. And talk about an ovation. And I have to mention the crowd. at the Izod Center. Monday night was absolutely phenomenal. They added so much to Monday Night Raw, and I've been to plenty of live events, and when the crowd is into it, it just adds so much more to the experience, not just for the fans in attendance, but for the fans at home. It just makes you want to be so much more involved in the product. I'm sure you guys understand what I'm saying. Now, I hope you enjoyed my quick review of Monday Night Raw. Please also check out my review and results for WrestleMania 29, and also some live results videos that I put up throughout the course of WrestleMania 29 on Sunday night. Also, I'll be updating you guys with a few injuries that happened to a couple superstars at WrestleMania 29. I let you guys know what happened with The Rock. I'll be providing a further update, and I'll also let you guys know what happened with Triple H. He suffered a pretty bad injury at WrestleMania 29 as well. For the effing brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com and the World Wide Web, my name is Brian Crazy. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to review the show, share my results with you guys, and give you guys the opportunity to hear what I have to say and interact back with me. I'll have a great night. I hope you have a great night. I'm already having a great night, and I'll catch you later.